Did you guys know that before E-Demon, before searching, before Unfriended, it was The Den? The Den came out all the way back in 2013, and it was actually the first video chat subgenre of found footage film that I actually saw. When I saw the trailer for Unfriended Dark Web, it really reminded me of this movie, so I decided to go back and revisit it. Just in case you're new to my channel, first of all, welcome. And yes, I did review Unfriended. I reviewed it with friend requests. I'll put the link to that in the description box. Who knew all the way back then that this would become an actual subgenre? Because found footage already is a subgenre of horror, and I guess video chat found footage would be a subgenre. So let's get into it. The Den is about a woman named Elizabeth who is I don't know whether she's a graduate student or a professor. All I do know is that she does apply for a grant in order to study human behavior within the realm of video chat space. When she is given this grant, she decides that she's going to do the study by being on video chat 24/7. She starts off mostly using an app called The Den, which is pretty much the movie's version of chat roulette. What I kind of liked about that is that the actors that played the other participants in The Den were really good, and I thought a lot of the interactions were very realistic. This is another person with a messy, scattered desktop, which if you've seen my review for E-Demon, you know how I feel about that. As I was rewatching this, I was kind of thinking to myself, is chat roulette a thing that still exists? And I actually went on Google, and the site is still up, and I guess people are still on there using chat roulette. That reminds me, I should log into my old MySpace account and start using it again, because MySpace is still there. And I never deleted my account, I just stopped logging in. Not all this movie takes place on video chat. There are parts of the movie where cell phones are used kind of as a point of view camera. Those bits took me out of the movie for a moment because it was hard to justify why they would be using their cell phone camera in this way. This whole subplot of people being harmed or killed for real and for the entertainment of others is something that both The Den and Unfriended Dark Web have in common. However, that's not entirely a brand new concept, because I believe that it was kind of explored in Videodrome, which is a movie that came out in 1983. Another commonality between the two films is having a third party control your laptop and blackmail you or coerce you to do things that you ordinarily wouldn't do. That happens in both The Den and Unfriended Dark Web. I won't get into any other specifics so as not to spoil either movie, but I will add that towards the end of this movie they also add the use of head-mounted cameras, kind of like GoPros, but not the same as GoPros as far as the look of them. I kind of like those sequences because they really ratcheted up the tension and made things a bit more suspenseful. There's a little bit of gore, not too much, but what they did do looked very realistic. The practical effects were executed very well, and I believe that most of them were done in camera. Like I said, what little bit of gore they had looked really great. There isn't a soundtrack per se, but there is a little bit of instrumentation that's added very subtly for effect, and I thought that was done very well. The one criticism that I have is that for a movie that's supposed to take place all on webcam or cell phone cam or head mount cam, it didn't look that way. It looked like they used regular movie cameras and then just superimposed it onto a computer screen, and that I felt like that was something that could have been corrected in post. I mean, I just use, simple as iMovie to edit my videos, and that even has the capability of altering your footage to make it look a little bit more grainy, or to lower the resolution, or to use different filters. So there's really no excuse for why, even if they did use standard movie cameras, that they didn't go back and post and retouch the recording to make it look more like a webcam would look. I also like how Elizabeth's character responded to most of the situations. I like the way she was written. She didn't do the same stupid horror movie tropes that they have a lot of characters do, especially female characters. When shit went left, she immediately notified the authorities. She gave a report. She started looking up ways to protect herself, like firearms and weapon training, and like she was very proactive in trying to protect herself. I feel like the less that I tell you about the movie, the better you'll enjoy it for people who haven't seen The Den. I'm going to come back to you in a second and talk to you about Unfriended Dark Web. And we're back. First of all, shout out to Summer Elmore who suggested Unfriended Dark Web. Thank you for that. It's funny, this past weekend I watched E-Demon, Searching, Unfriended, Dark Web, The Den, and a movie that I recently found called Open Windows. And most of these movies always take place on a MacBook, and I wondered to myself if people who don't use MacBooks get the same thing out of these films that I do or that Mac users do, because the desktop looks so different. I mentioned before switching back and forth between using the iMac, using the MacBook Pro, and using the HP laptop, and how disorienting it could be. Although now, since it's been about 3 months, I'm getting pretty used to it. I like the friend group in this installment of Unfriended much better than the last friend group. The last friend group, they were all assholes, but that was kind of part of the plot. I like the variety in this friend group, that there were two Euro-American guys, a guy from the UK, an interracial lesbian couple, and a girl who looked to be Asian American. The characters later revealed to be Indonesian, and I thought that was pretty cool. Now, sometimes when you read things online, you always have that one butthurt person who's like, this is forced diversity. And dear butthurt person, I don't know where the hell you live, but this is my reality. This is a lot of people's reality, where our friend groups are very diverse. That was realistic for me. I know that not everyone has the benefit of interacting with a diverse group, but don't shit on it, because it's really pretty dope. And when I say this is my reality, I'm not just blowing smoke up your ass. I kind of wonder who these people are and how isolated they are, because I literally have European cousins, and I actually have friends who happen to be gay and in interracial marriage. So I just thought that was completely realistic for me. Our main character's name is Mateus, and so we see most things from his point of view. Mateus finds this computer at a coffee shop that I believe he states was in the lost and found for 1 or 2 weeks. And that's how we start the movie, with this brand new found computer that he has. There's an interesting scene where Mateus screen shares with his friends, and they're all together looking through the files and trying to look through the new computer. I felt that scene was really engaging. One janky bit about the movie is when this hooded figure shows up, and for some reason whenever he's on screen there's interference on the computer, which at first I thought meant that he was a supernatural entity for this reason. But then, since his demands included money, I thought to myself, well, what would a supernatural entity need with cryptocurrency? So then why or how did his image distort every time he happened to be on camera? But enough about that. Let's talk about the kills. The first one was more implied, and it was, we'll just say, about something corrosive. That one was kind of chilling, even though they just implied it. They didn't show it. The second one, involving a roof, meh. The third one had a real creative use of sound and a 911 call. The next one we'll call The Choice. It was really tense and very well done. Kudos to the actress who was the focal point of that scene, because she really sold it. Really, all the actors in this are far superior to the actors in the first one. I won't go through all the kill scenes, because that's just telling you way too much. Suffice to say that they're just better in this one than they were in the original. In general, this whole movie was better than the first movie, and that's rare to say that a sequel is better than the original movie, but in this case, this movie was way better than the original. Even though it did crib a lot of things off of The Den, it changed enough of the elements so as not to be a complete ripoff. This movie definitely moved along at a very good pace, and I can say that I was not bored. I actually wouldn't mind them making a part 3 for this. I could see this being a series as long as the writing stays as strong as it was in this particular installment. But like I always say, just because I love something doesn't mean you won't hate it, and just because I hate something doesn't mean you won't love it. Did you see The Den or Unfriended Dark Web, or both? And what did you think of them? Let me know below. Bye.